today? Probably not.
Probably not. Welcome to Comic Book Wars episode 44 with three disgusting guys. I mean, I think like on a par of like disgustingness, I don't think I'm as disgusting as a guy that would like dip pretzels in some kind of dipping sauce. I think that's gross.
Probably.
Oh my god, dude!
What
I'm
is
gonna
that?
vomit. Oh
What
my
is
god, I'm
that?
gonna vomit. No, let's move on, dude. You're gonna make me puke. Okay. Anyways, Jim Linguini here, episode 44. Here again with two disgusting guys that are showing pictures of like food they're eating, and it's gross. Okay. You guys can. Nikko's here. He's eating disgusting stuff. He can't talk for some reason. But of course, we're also joined by.
Not Keith. Oh, me. Sleepy John. Yeah. Getting staying. Hope everybody's staying healthy out there. You gotta get your antioxidants up. Keep you healthy. Cheers.
Okay, that's why he's eating Philadelphia. Oh my god, Philadelphia cream cheese and pretzels. Oh my god, that's disgusting.
That's interesting for sure. Interesting mix.
I went to Whole Foods and they had like fresh pretzels and they were all like individually bagged, and I bought a few of those. They were so good.
What's a fresh pretzel?
You know, pretzels they make. Okay, but anyway, speaking about disgustingness, what went on last weekend, Nico?
Well, Nikko time. Nikko had a panel going.
Wait, is he not talking? Is he on mute?
His mouth is stuck together with cream cheese. Well, at least that's what we hope it is.
I'm Nikko, your weekend update correspondent with comicbookspeculation.com. It's good to be here.
So last week on Nikko time.
Oh, yeah. This Saturday, I had a really interesting dialogue with a couple dear friends. We had Dylan Universe, a prior guest of the show, as well as Peter Renna, I think the most likable man in comics. Jimmy Looks Weird. We also enjoyed Denis Hayes, who is a linchpin in the comic speculation community. It was a really good time. We talked about some of the impacts that the coronavirus was having early on the comic market. As prices have been all over the board. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out and whether or not some of the insights that were shared on Nikko Time were astute or short-sighted or what. I want to thank the guests. I really
it was good.
Enjoyed the time we spent together and hope we can do it again.
Definitely.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully when we do Corona comic talk next time, it'll have a different meaning.
Well, I liked it because when I looked at it today, it got like it had this advertisement on the bottom from like Public Health Canada, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. So.
Yeah, I mean the problem with that video is that it was immediately flagged as
anything with coronaviruses, so they put these coronavirus ads on it. So just to like combat fake news and people saying that like you can drink bleach to cure it. Which I don't really disagree with.
Well,
but I just thought it was funny that it had this fun advertisement on the bottom.
Yeah, and Facebook is just removing them entirely at this point.
Yeah, I've heard they're flagging some, and I think it's because they don't have the people to do it. It's all automated, and they're flagging the wrong stuff. So who knows? But this kind of surprised me. News came out.
Yeah,
this
I would
week
have thought he would have been more cut than that.
That Gravel is being optioned. Gravel is the Avatar series by Warren Ellis and Mike Wolfer, and Jason Statham is attached.
Pardon me?
I don't know how to say his name.
Statham.
Jason Statham or
yeah.
Yeah.
So is this really happening according to your sources, Jimmy?
Well, I asked Mike Wolfer, and he said it was the first time he had heard of it. So
and he's the artist on the comic?
Yeah, he wrote. He co-wrote a bunch of the stories, and he's the artist / co-creator. But Warren Ellis is allegedly writing the script, so who knows? And the first appearance of the character is Strange Kiss #1.
He doesn't have any rights to it?
I guess not. But he said the last time he heard about it being optioned was back in 2009.
Oh, okay. So maybe it's just been in. It was optioned, and now it's moving forward.
Yeah, I just thought he would have heard
11 years later.
Well, again, I would have assumed he would have heard about it. I mean, Warren Ellis also was allegedly involved in the new Terminator movie at some point, and Tim Miller was allegedly at some point signed on to do something here. I don't think he is anymore, but the script that they had at one point was co-written by him. So who knows what that means.
Tim Miller was going to direct it?
He was going to be. It says the script so far was written by him, but that's been slashed out and it's being rewritten by Warren Ellis.
Interesting.
So at some point, in my understanding, he was attached. He is, of course, the director of Deadpool.
Right. Deadpool 1.
Deadpool 1, yes. And
didn't want to stay on. He wanted a bigger budget movie for 2, and they didn't want to do it, so he told them goodbye. Then went and did Terminator.
Yeah, I think it's because he wanted more creative control, and like Ryan Reynolds got like to do whatever he wanted or whatever.
Yeah.
But either way, I feel like Strange Kiss 1 is a book that you can still find in the wild, especially at a store that might have back catalog, and I don't think it would be that expensive. So it's something to keep in mind. The book is going up a little bit, so
yeah, why not?
And then that brings us to our Wednesday Warrior Guide. Did you guys hear that comic book stores were told they could sell their books a day early?
Yeah. I think that's a smart idea. Honestly.
I guess that's because like some stores were told they had to close tomorrow permanently.
Oh, I never heard that, but it makes sense just so you don't have all the people coming right when the store opens, like happens sometimes for hot books.
Oh, you think that's why they did it?
I don't know. I hadn't heard that any retail stores were being told to close. You know, in my state, all restaurants and bars and coffee shops are closed.
Where's the Tesla factory? I can't remember what state. No, where's this? What?
Our neighboring state. Same deal.
What? No, what are you saying? What state
Tesla
is
or GM?
Tesla.
Tesla's is in the desert somewhere. I thought
Arizona, so whatever state. I think it's Arizona. They're on lockdown. They're not allowed to do anything except they're only allowed to have essential staff. So they're closed, and that's because the government is forcing them to close. So I would imagine it's the same with some comic book stores, but who knows? Yeah,
that's on a state-by-state basis if they're gonna.
So I think that's why they did it, but who knows? This was a picture of me today when I was out and about looking like a dummy. But this week starts the first part of the Joker War. We see the first prelude of the Joker War, Nightwing 70, and it's already selling for a little bit. I don't know why that graphic is there. But anyways, yeah, so Nightwing 70, it has 2 covers. It's sold out at the distribution level. It's already on a second print, and it's been pre-selling for about $20. So that's a good book to be going for this week. It doesn't have punchline in it. It's just a prelude to the Joker War. So,
right. I think the early hype on it was that punchline might appear in it, and that was why people were buying it ahead of time.
Well, so that's been disputed or refuted. So who knows where it goes.
Are we going to talk about the 2 guys on Instagram that made up a book as a joke as the first appearance of Punchline, and then it got propagated all over the internet?
Is that that mime book? The Batman mime character?
Like, first of all, we already brought that up. And 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? Like, whenever we brought that up already. And I brought up the lawsuit with DC and how it was bullshit.
No, different book. Book.
No.
Yeah, no, this is a different book. This is a Batman book.
Listen, here's what I'm going to say to you right now. Right now we're doing the Wednesday Warrior Guide.
Oh.
And you're kind of hurting my feelings that you're just going off topic. And
I even printed out the outline. Ask me how much of it Jimmy wrote.
Well, I didn't even look at the outline. All I did was I did the slideshow because
very disrespectful of you, Jimmy.
So that's something to keep in mind. But anyways, yeah. So Nightwing 70 seems like it's a good book. Another book that has heated up quite a bit is Batman 91. It's selling for above cover. The cover that people are gravitating towards is the cover A for whatever reason. And this book has also sold out at the distribution level. So those are just 2 books to, I guess, grab this week. Another one that comes out is Hell Arisen 4. 2 covers, both have sold out. This is, again, the Punchline connection, I'm assuming. and this book is another book that's selling for about $20. So
yeah, I think all these are just tied to the Punchline hype as any type of book that had Batman or Joker that came out.
I feel like the Nightwing one is more of a prelude to the Joker War, and that it leads into like this 3 Joker thing, and that seems to be doing stuff. So who knows though?
Yeah, but for sure, there was a lot of hype around Punchline appearing in it, possibly.
Another book that seems to be selling well is Screaming Horror 1. It has sold out. It is Screaming Horror was a magazine that was printed in I believe it was 1991, and it sells for about $50. It's really hard to find. So they've redone it, and they've refinished the artwork and relettered the entire thing, and they've solicited to bring it back. So this is just
is it same publisher?
Same publisher. So it's like a reprint of the exact same issue 1. But it's sold out
at the publisher.
Fantico.
Oh.
But again, it's sold out at the distribution level, and it seems to be trending upwards.
I like their soda. They make a good soda.
And Spawn 306 is another book that is sold out at the distribution level. This is the Gunslinger Spawn cover. And again, I think it's a good book to gravitate towards because Gunslinger Spawn hasn't shown up in a while. And
first appearance.
A couple of these.
How is this a first appearance?
John, would you like to share with Jimmy how this book is a first appearance?
I have no clue.
Okay. It's the first appearance of some villain. Like, I forget their name.
Okay,
hold on.
There's 3 covers. I only think that
I
just think this is like
none
of the books are selling for anything. I just think this one is the only one that's sold out. So
this is the 4th cover. This is cover D.
Yeah.
I like when I know shit about modern comics that you guys don't. It makes me happy.
Yeah, because it's
his name is Raptor. His name is Raptor. I'll get you a picture of him here in a second. And he looks like that.
Okay.
I'm basically a genius, you know. Basically.
Did you pick any up today?
What do you think?
What the fuck?
I picked up one. I picked up one of this one.
I bought 2 online. I paid $6 for them, and I was very hesitant on it because I do think it's a good book to get because Image books are still $3 cover price, and this one there was 2 sales that I saw. One was $3.99, and the other one was like $8, I think, something like that. And then there's
I like it when other people shame you guys, not just me. It makes me happy.
Well, I honestly am a little bored with the modern the Punchline stuff. Really got
left
to me.
A bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah, it really got to me, honestly.
God,
you're seeing this type of stuff in the hobbies now, where I'm glad that there's more people coming in because honestly, I was not collecting comics years ago when they started to get more popular because of movies and stuff, but I'm a little irritated with the current flipping situation.
What do we think the distribution on this book is going to be?
I haven't checked the new numbers for these,
but
with 4 covers, this will have less than 10,000. I mean, I would even bet maybe like in the
I mean, you can buy it right now for $2.50 online. So
nice.
But what happens with these Spawn books, what they're doing is they're putting out 3 or 4 covers every issue, which they've been doing since, if you recall back, before Mattina even started doing the covers.
Yeah, 260.
It was later. It was a little bit later than that. I think. You might be around there though. And those ones were only about 40,000 distribution over 3 covers. So like the 3rd cover, which is going to be the less ordered, is probably pretty low. But this is a unique cover, much like the book last week with the Jason and Sean Alexander cover D, which was selling for about $20. So I like it.
Nice.
Next one. We got next. Oh yeah, I just wanted to mention these. Do you guys think Pichu Momoko is starting to wear off a little bit on people?
Dude, I got a buddy who wants to travel to China during the pandemic to meet her and marry her. I mean, he's obsessed. I've never seen anything like it.
Sounds like you're talking about yourself. But anyways, I think that people are a little tired of her at this point. She seems overused, and there's a lot of store variants where it's like it's not that great. But
this is the first. Well, there's been a few that just didn't hit it out of the park with her, but I thought this cover was decent. But the store variants are killing the value of her stuff because once it was announced she had a 1/25, there's a couple store variants for the Spider-Woman #1, and also when Marvel does these 1 in 500s, people tend to do the store variants to cover their costs. So both these are selling below ratio. The Momoko's 1 in 25. The Art Germ, that's the 1 in 500 Virgin. It's a nice cover. The Art Germ actually I thought was really nice. It's something a little bit different for him, and I'm glad to see him doing it.
That's by Art Germ?
Yeah. He could have gone the Campbell route and just kept doing like his pinup stuff with no backgrounds. I think he has done a good job at keeping himself kind of fresh and delivering a good product every time.
This is a book that Jawn was talking about a few weeks ago, no?
Yeah.
Many moons ago.
A few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
So this finally
somebody could have made some money if they'd have bought your Bitterroots, bro.
Who are you talking to?
You. If someone would have bought those Bitterroots when you told them to, they'd have made a truckload of cash.
Well, I tried to buy them and I had to order in, and it got canceled, of course. So, yeah,
I get a lot of that myself. Yeah,
this is only a 1 in 10 variant, which is pretty low ratio. And I haven't checked. Jimmy, did you see if these are selling?
Yeah,
at all at this point?
There was like 1 or 2 sales at like $20.
Yeah,
and I mean, I guess it's like trending up, but who knows?
We'll see how many are out there.
What's the movie that it's a homage of?
This is
because it's a movie poster variant, right?
Harlem
Nights. Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. It's not Harlem Nights because I thought it was Harlem Nights and I looked it up and that's not what Harlem Nights looks like at all.
Oh no, Bitterroot's just set back then. I'm sorry, you're exactly
right.
Right.
That's what we talked about.
That's exactly what it is.
You're just racist because you saw Harlem, so you assumed.
And
that was it.
Don't forget about in a month, Bitterroot #8 comes out, which is the Purple Rain variant, which is not a non-ratio. You could probably still buy that at cover price. But I think that one will see a little bit of interest as well. So, Nico, before we move on, I was not aware that that Batman mime book was started as a farce.
Yeah,
because we live in the era where people just see something and they just automatically relate it to hype their own book, or ask like a general question and then.
So there were 2 guys. One is called @JPLFLASH. And the other one is I don't know.
Oh, we're just calling them out?
Yeah, what do I care? I don't think they would care. I forget who the other one was. It's in Nick's announcement. T_Mua, T_MOUA. And
Tony Mua? Yeah.
Tony Mua. Yeah. And And I think they basically were just like, hey, look, it's first appearance of Punchline. And then people started buying the books like in mass.
Gotcha.
Like just swiping them up.
Yeah.
It's a strange time to be a comic guy, I swear. So,
and then there was something also I read online. I believe it was in Doomsday Clock, where that same character mime was
Mime and Marionette.
Yeah, and they were talking about their child in the comic, and somebody said, "Yeah, here it is, first Punchline." They talk about the child, and I read it. I was like, "That's a boy child." Did you even read the comic? It says he right in the comic panel.
Yeah, so, I guess I was in quarantine from all that information, but I just looked into it myself, and it looks like they're just a bunch of dicks, but I don't know. They seem to be like, "Oh, Key Collector put this on. We're celebrating." It's like, first of all, it says speculated and rumored, and then credits you. It doesn't say that it is confirmed. It just says that people are buying it based on your stupid nonsense of what you're pushing. Anyways, I
like that Nick creates celebrity, though. That makes me happy.
Oh.
I've made the big time. You know what I mean? It gives people something to aspire to. Next.
Yeah, right.
Oh. Oh, we're on Market Watch. Are you ready for Market Watch?
Very excited. Oh man, wow!
Let's do it.
Wait, oh my gosh,
there's a couple good ones in here.
So, 3 Jokers was announced right after our last podcast.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. This has been
I've been waiting for this
highly
for a year and
anticipated.
a half.
So we found out it's going to be a $7.99 book. So that's more than $2 per Joker, and
It's reasonable.
well, that's what I read. Don't get mad at me. And the books that people seem to be gravitating to right now are DC Comic Universe Rebirth #1, the 4th print. This book, astonishingly, has been selling for $100 to $150, which again is crazy.
Yeah, makes no sense.
Because again, they're saying that this is the first appearance of the 3 Jokers. Again, this could just be a picture of Joker at different angles. I guess it could. Well, I guess their teeth are different. So I don't know.
It's definitely they're on the cover.
You're right. This is definitely the 3 Jokers. Yeah. And then Justice League 50 is another book that seems to be gravitating up with people saying that this is the first appearance. And again, these aren't completed, but you can see there's 3 listings with bids on it. One at $14.50, one at $7.15, and one at $1. So
I probably have a stack of both of those books somewhere if I can find them.
Probably not those 4th prints.
Of the 4th print, I don't know, man. But those are definitely books to be looking for, I would assume.
I bought a bunch of the 3rd prints because they had the that Wally West on the cover, and at the time it seemed like it was going to be a good spec. For some reason I don't even recall at this point, but I never sold them. I still have them, and of course they're not selling. Justice League 50 is the first time that Batman learns that there was 3 Jokers, so it is a good book, and it's part of it's the end of the Doomsday War, so it's always had a little bit of demand on it.
Oh,
I think it's. Yeah, I don't know if you can find it in dollar box or not. I wouldn't pay much more than that.
I mean, it's selling for more than that, so I mean, not a bad book to try to flip, I guess. But who knows?
I can't believe somebody would pay $150 for the DC Universe nonsense.
Well, I mean, it has free shipping.
It really makes no sense why somebody was paying $100 for it. I don't think I'd pay $10 for it, to be honest. What happened with it, and this is why eBay stinks right now with everything they did, is somebody listed one for a ridiculous price, then it sold, and it's like, well, it's selling for that much, is it? We don't know. Maybe somebody paid a ridiculous price. We don't know for sure. But
oh boy.
What is this one, Jimmy? I didn't know anything about this book.
Oh, DC announced that they're doing a new Sandman book, Sandman Universe: The Dreaming, Waking Hours, and it's going to be on Black Label. It's going to be the first Sandman book that they publish that's original content under the Black Label imprint. And I only mention this because they're saying there's a first appearance of this new character, Ruin, and with the whole
Constantine Jr.
Well, with the whole new TV show and the who knows if this character could mean anything or if it can't mean anything, or again, Constantine Jr., I don't know, whatever. So first appearance of this that's all I mentioned it for. Just done.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then
I just randomly saw this on Twitter. I don't go on Twitter much, but I was opening it up to look up something else, and then this was at the top of my timeline. This Tom Taylor introducing a new Justice League team that will be appearing in the new Deceased series Volume 2. Now, there is a current Deceased series, but it's some kind of sub thing. Apparently, this is going to be a new team. So the thing about this is that Deceased is not in continuity, but he has created this new Justice League team, which consists of John Kent. Who else we got? Cassie Sandsmark, who is Wonder Girl. Dina Lance, Black Canary. And then I don't know if Hawkgirl is on the team or not. She's in the back there, but he doesn't mention her. So he only mentions 3 people, which seems like not very many people to make a new Justice League team.
Oh, there's 4. He mentions 4.
Oh, did he mention Hawkgirl?
No, it's Green Canary. Dina Lance is the Green Canary.
Okay. Yeah, which I said, Green Canary.
That would be 5 if you count Hawkgirl.
Okay, that might be... John Kent. So it says Damian Wayne is Batman,
Sandsmark.
John Kent's Superman, Casey
Wayne.
Sandsmack is Wonder Woman. There's 3.
Sandsmack. I forgot
6.
Damian Wayne.
Dina Lance is
6.
the Green Canary, so that's 4.
Okay. So the one
So
I
what
was
is-
surprised about was Wonder Girl. I had not ever really looked for this book, Wonder Woman 105 from Volume 2.
It's a pain in the
Because
ass.
it is always, I guess for the sales I looked up, people were buying it for $8 to $10 before this news came
but
out.
it's gone from every damn box I look for it.
Do you? Okay. I never.
At least
looked for
around
it, but-
us. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I can see that.
I think it got hot for a half a second in preparation for the Teen Titans DC streaming.
Oh, okay. Could be. And then the other one is obviously Justice League of America, first Black Canary.
Look at those legs.
Yeah, the nice fishnet legs. The other
Yeah.
ones we already know about, Damian Wayne and John Kent. We've talked about those many times. So I don't want to go too much on it, but I think that Wonder Woman is maybe something to look for at your local store, maybe in the back issue bins.
Very nice. I like.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, all right.
Whoa. Oh, it's my unicorn.
Well, I guess it's time for the Nikko time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever
Let's do
do
it.
an Urban Dictionary search for what a unicorn is? It's unsettling.
Is Nico time started, please?
Oh, sorry. All right. First and foremost, this is a point of shame for me.
Okay.
Shame.
So you didn't buy this?
I lost the auction.
Oh, you actually did bid on it, huh?
I lost the auction. I don't want to talk about it. I lost the auction by $30. I don't know how much more they bid. It's a long story. The point is, I'm very sad. As everyone is well aware, there's a boom in these foreign language comics. La Presna being the big publisher out of Mexico, who's gotten a lot of attention in the last year and a half as a result of non-canon Marvel comics, particularly the non-canon Gwen Stacy comics. This Misterios del Gato Negro number 21 is the American Black Cat 50, Black Cat Mystery Comics number 50. To give people some idea of the rarity of Black Cat Mystery Comics, although some Golden Age collectors would suggest that it's not. There's 78 copies on the census. There's 9 more if you count the purple labels, for a total of 76 copies of the book. I assume that there are far fewer copies of Misterios del Gato Negro than there are of Black Cat Mystery Comics number 50. So to give you some indication, I've not seen any other copies of this book sell. If you're an international comic collector, somebody who's interested in putting together a set, I believe that there are 2 books in this set. If you're looking for a Black Cat Mystery number 50, this is the kind of price tag you're going to pay for it. August of 2019, a CGC 10 sold for almost $2,500. May of that month, a C1, so an amateur restoration, CGC 25 purple label, $3,240. That was a big sale, kind of an anomaly.
Version.
The U.S. version. In June, there was a thanks, Jimmy. CGC 50 for $6,300. In February of last year, an 80 sold for $10K. I'll be real interested to see what happens when the next copy of Misterios del Gato Negro comes to market, and or whether or not this book will be slabbed and resold. So far, to my knowledge, the buyer has not surfaced, but congratulations to the buyer.
Cool, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, next book, Target Comics, number 7. Target Comics is published by Novelty Press. It is a super rare book from the 1940s, 10 center. Issue 7 is incredibly rare. This book has a Space Hawk cover by Wolverton, who does the story, cover, and art. There's only 14 universal copies. I think that a lot of the attention around some of these rare books, like Target Comics #7, is a product of there being a Mile High copy. So a CGC 9.6 of the Mile High copy of Target Comics #7 sold for $77,000 and change back in 2014.
Yeah, that's the Edgar Church collection.
You got it. In March of 2018, a CGC 7.5 restored A3, so substantial professional resto, sold for a whopping $3,600. A Blue Label 6.0 sold for close to $5K in 2016. So that gives you some idea of what the price tag on this book is going to be. It did not appear to have restoration. But it's hard for me to tell, and I'm not good at picking a resto up unless I've got a book in person. I know other people that are. An entry-level copy is going to cost you about a G. So like a CGC 1.5 sold back in summer of 2018 for around that price. I think it was a little less than $1,000. Congratulations to the buyer. If this book has not been restored, I think they stole it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of this series before, and I tried to figure out why you had picked this one out. Like if there was something special about it.
That Space Hawk cover is kind of notorious.
That's a pretty cool cover. 7 and 8 appear to be very hard to find. You get these niche comics, and people want to actually just read them. And the problem with these older books is people don't have any of the imagery saved anywhere, like scanned in or even photos of the story. So there are people out there that search these out just so that they can kind of help the community and record the story that's inside it and share it with other people. And this 7 and 8 were both those books that were kind of being sought out. And from what I read online, they do have them now at this point though. So I think it's just, for whatever reason, hard to find book.
All right, this one's interesting.
This one is interesting to me, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say because I got some thoughts on it.
Well, I tend to not talk about raw books for fear of grading discrepancies. I think this copy was appropriately graded as a 4.0. It was a no reserve auction from JS Comics on eBay, who's a reputable dealer. I personally don't like the color strike on the issue.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Right? But, I mean, you think about that. So, like, if this was a modern comic, oh, my God, it'd be worth 10 times, right?
Oh.
The color error. It's a color error.
What? You think it's that and it's not faded? Just faded?
Well, no, I don't think that's faded. With these older comics, it's a strike, right? Color strike. Some are great. Some are bad. I don't think that's like
from the printing process. You're saying the printing
correct?
Plates?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Just because everything's consistent. Is that why you're saying that? In terms of the colors are all consistent?
I think there would be other indicia of like sun damage or fading if it was that. I think it's a color strike. Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Hi. Welcome back. Thanks.
Good to see you. Is that bad color strike, Jimmy? Not faded, right? Bad color strike. Good job, Jimmy. Go back. Good job.
Anyway. So the price I thought was actually pretty good for a raw copy in the condition that it was.
Well, I mean, what do you think? So grade that book. Do you think it's a 4.0? I say it's a
it was a little higher than I thought it should be because there was a 3/4 inch tear on the back of it.
So you think that's a 4.0 base, or that's a that it was overgraded at 4.0?
Maybe. I'm not good with old books, I'll be honest, because I don't grade them that often.
Again, so it's like when I tell you that there's this real discrepancy between the Overstreet grading like book, okay, and
right,
CGC. I can't overstate that. And if you want to know how CGC grades, you got to dig through Nicholas Vu's YouTube videos, ETA Nick, and go watch him. He does the best sort of analysis of that I've seen.
Okay.
Jimmy's making faces, but note that Nick doesn't give a fuck about Jimmy either. Anyway,
because I would just go to the Overstreet guide and see what it says, you know.
Yeah, but that's not enough. But I mean, if
It's
you
not
do
how
that,
CGC
Who knows?
grades.
I mean, does ETA Nick like work at CGC?
no, he's just really good at it.
Did he work at CGC ever?
Just going by what he's seen through his years.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's like
I don't know, Jimmy. But
I don't
what
know
do you
what
grade
you're
this
on
book,
about.
big boy?
who cares? I didn't look
You
at the back.
don't
I didn't really look at it. So
Well,
point it. Okay, so
I
let's
don't
get
buy
to the
I
fucking
don't buy
bread.
raw books online anyways. So.
Let's get to the bread and butter of this, right? If it's a 4.0, it's a $2,500 book.
graded it is.
Correct.
Yeah. Which
if
is
it's
why
a-
I said it was a good price raw.
What's
for the seller?
Right, but that's probably not a 4.0. It's probably
You
a
think it's
4.5.
higher?
Probably. But I would still grade it as a 4.0 like these guys do, conservatively. You're not trying to. People are a pain in the ass selling raw books. And if it's a 4.5, the last 4.5 at on eBay sold for $4K. GPA recorded sale.
I mean, you're going to pay a premium to get a book like, well, maybe not bad for a book.
I'm not going to pay that much fucking of a premium.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I guess what interested me more was looking on GPA is that there's not like a lot of recent sales data for this book. Graded, obviously.
It doesn't come up a lot. It certainly doesn't come up a lot in live auctions. There has not been a lot of hype around it.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think
Which
it's
is
that
sort
hard
of
a
shocking.
book to find. If you got money, you can buy this book. But it didn't seem like there was a lot of sales. Maybe people are just holding and not wanting to take a hit on it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I like this comic, as a long-term investment, obviously, because I got a thing for the Green Lantern, Flash, whatever, blue chip books. But in this kind of economy, who can afford to pick up a $2,500 book and sit on it for a year, 2, 5, 10? It'll be interesting. We haven't seen a big spike in any of the Green Lantern books following the TV show announcement. We've seen Showcase 4 come down in price dramatically, right?
I still don't even believe the Green Lantern show, honestly.
You don't believe that it's going to happen, or you just don't?
I don't think I'm not real.
You have no faith.
No faith that it's going to happen, or if it does, I honestly don't know who cares about Green Lantern
At this stage of the game,
Jimmy always brings up these new characters in Green Lantern, and I'm like, yeah, so what?
Well, I mean, Green Lantern Earth 2 is still happening, and I mean, Grant Morrison is supposed to bring the Green Lantern back to Earth or some nonsense.
Great.
So.
That'll sell at least 500 copies.
I don't know why you're so rude.
So it's interesting, right? I mean, there's an opportunity to make some money here if you buy this book. But, do you roll the dice on a book that big in this kind of economy? It took a lot of courage from the buyer. I saw it, watched it happen, didn't bid, didn't play.
They put it on credit card.
Invest in MasterCard.
All right.
Interesting.
Stocks going up.
Thank you, Nico.
All right, well, let's move on to
books,
GPA for Comics Watch or whatever.
Good books to chat about.
I don't know what this is called, but the graphic is something. Very busy graphic.
Red Heart needs to put a shirt on. Thanks.
It's got lots of man boobs on it.
Yeah. What is this called? This is what? Just Comic Watch?
GPA Watch.
Oh, cool.
Because CBCS doesn't have any way to track their sales. So the first one up, I always like throwing these random weird books in. Fantastic Four 122 just sold for $1,000 and 9.8. There's no significance to this book except the cover is kind of decent. It's got Galactus and Silver Surfer. This was the all-time high. Last year there was a couple sales that it just kept going up, and there's only 13 on the census. So decent book to look out for, I guess. I don't know if you find it in 9.8. But $1,000 for a 9.8 of this book that nobody
that's a tough book.
There's no hype around it at all, besides maybe Silver Surfer and Galactus on the cover.
Well, I mean, there's collectors that like the
put the runs together.
The picture frame covers, and there's people who just have the picture. And I think there's a CGC
thread on it.
Not a thread, but I believe there's a collection of things. Yeah, a registry. I believe there is a registry for it. Plus, it's black, right? So it's a tougher book in 9.8. And I believe.
I don't know. I don't see color. I just saw that it was a nice book.
Well, the spine is completely black, right? So
wow. I don't know. That seems a little over the top.
Okay. Well, what's the next book we got going on? Saga 1, the retailer variant.
Nikko.
What did you call it?
Saga.
It's Saga.
Sorry.
Saga.
Sorry.
Saga.
Nico mentioned this one, and I had this on my list from last week.
Thanks.
Went for 2,400. The all-time high on this was 3,250 a couple years back when there was a lot of hype surrounding it. The number on the census there, that's not correct. It's not 1,208. It's 208. That was my fault on that one. But 208, everybody always says there's probably
who's got all those raw copies?
Yeah, it's 300 raw out there, presumably. But
sell me one.
Yeah, $2,400. Nobody sells these things cheap. They think they're worth more than they are.
Yeah, I got to sign one upstairs somewhere.
Nice.
Oh,
good job, Jimmy.
Next up, we had we were talking about earlier, the artist Peach Momoko. This book seems to be her most popular book at the current time. One just sold for $500. I remember when this came out, which was like in probably October of last year. I think it's garbage cover, honestly. At the time, in November, one sold for $188, which was probably first to market. And this is the new high at $500. There's only 4 listed on the census, but GPA has 5 sales with different serial numbers. So I assume CGC is behind. This one was probably like they just got it back and sold it right away, is my guess. So it probably hasn't hit the census yet. But it's Peach Momoko craze.
Yeah, even at 188, that's a pretty good price. But $500 can't go wrong.
Because it was, what was it when it came out? It was about.
It was a 1 in 25 variant, wasn't it? And
no,
it was
1
selling.
in 50.
Was it?
Well, you might be right. It might only be 1 in 25.
I don't know. I know that I think it's Frankie's Comics did a reverse variant of it as well with her. So Peach Momoko. So
for this cover, I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure they did. Who knows?
But we actually talked about it on the podcast when it came out, and it spiked right when it came out, and then it went down, and said, "Oh, okay, just a little quick blip," and then people started really catching on to her again, and it's sustained. So one of those ones you don't really see coming. And then last up, we have a book this one's interesting to me. This book has been going up over the past year. 2001 Space Odyssey number 10, the first appearance of Machine Man. I don't get what is going on with Machine Man, but people seem to be gravitating towards it. I just don't see it as like a live action character, but that's kind of what I think started people going towards it. Also, obviously, there's been a lot going on with Machine Man 2020, Iron Man 2020, which was in the Machine Man series. So the thing interesting,
I think that was a Mikey Sutton exclusive back in 2018 or some nonsense. Honest to Christ, I blame him for all of this. The Machine Man shit.
Man was coming to MCU.
Well, it's a great Jack Kirby cover.
That's true.
I mean, look
at that helicopter. Bad cover. It's a pretty cool cover. So this sold for $8.99. Now that's the all-time high currently.
It's a little rich.
The interesting thing about this is 2 sold before this year. One for $325, one for $560. Okay, then one sells for $900. Okay, that's a pretty good appreciation in 3 months. it tripled in value. Now, I went and looked at what the live auction or what the live listings are. There's one listed for like $5.99, which is not sold, and then the same seller that sold this one, they must have had a batch of them because this has a sequential serial number after it.
That's adorable.
They have it listed for like $7.75 now, and the seller is had a lot of animosity and questions brought towards them on the CGC boards for their selling practices and the way that they were listing things. So it's very questionable. The reason I wanted to bring this up was take it with a grain of salt because the price is on GPA, but one has since sold then for $560, which is more in line, obviously, with the prior sale. And there's 105 on the census, which is a pretty good amount. If 10 people out there knew that this thing was selling for $900 and they had one, I guarantee they'd be selling it.
Rap City. The basement
10%. 10%, big Tigga, 10% of the 10% of the people would be selling it.
So good, man.
I shook Joe Claire's hand at the NBA All-Star game
that's
many
amazing.
years ago.
Yes. I like that Jimmy doesn't get these references because he's not old enough.
He's like, what?
You're not supposed to shake hands anymore.
Big Tigga.
So, yeah, there's that.
That was
Thanks
cool.
for listening. Thanks for listening.
Well, that brings us on to a rumor mill. I like that, John. Thank you for...
Cry me a river.
I always like your GPA watch.
Cry me.
I don't like this crybaby, though. That
Cry me.
keeps crying.
Cry me.
So what do we got up first?
Well, a little speculation.
Yeah.
I mean, Free Comic Book Day might be delayed. I'm hearing about a lot of retailers asking... Yeah, and I mean, retailers are asking Diamond...
It's a wrap, dude.
Where they're leaving the books and what kind of conditions they're in. So
they should put them on the doorstep like Nikko does for Halloween.
But Free Comic Book Day, this book is supposed to feature the first appearance of the Virus, the new character.
Yeah.
But I only bring this up because it's very possible that they will actually, the first appearance will be in Venom 25 or Venom 26. Venom 25 is supposed to come out before the Free Comic Book Day book, but the first full appearance is supposed to be in Venom 26, so I think it's supposed to be like some kind of very small cameo in Venom 25. That's what's been speculated. There is a Venom 25 Greg Horn variant that features Virus, so I'm not sure what that's about. But
so that's
just something to keep in mind. That the Free Comic Book Day might be pushed over, and this new Virus character.
What's the Greg Horn ratio?
I don't know.
It's not a ratio; it's a store variant.
Is it a store variant? It's for issue 25 though.
Yeah, it's an homage
that's
to
weird.
Iron Man 282, the first War Machine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know if he appears in that book though. I mean, Marvel said that Marvel says that the first appearance is supposed to be the Free Comic Book Day book, and that leads into Venom 26.
Yeah.
So people are saying Venom 25, but again, I'm not sure.
But
maybe it would be a one-page panel.
It? Same thing they did with the damn Red Goblin.
That's what I was just gonna say. It sounds like that situation all over again. So.
Yeah. So I guess, do you think it's I'm not even gonna bring it up. I don't even want to talk about store variants.
Well, I think that people would like that
goddamn
book,
complicated.
It's nonsense at this point. I just think that if Free Comic Book Day is pushed over, then the first appearance would then be one of these two books, and I think it's gonna be Venom 26. But again, Marvel's tricky.
I think the Free Comic Book Day thing is what intrigues me more because
when's final order?
I think
for what
had it for a Free Comic
for
Book
26.
I'm not sure.
Probably. Well, I don't know. Probably hasn't happened yet though.
And are there ratios?
Yeah, the one on the right.
I believe Venom 25 is the one that
sorry.
everybody's pushing right now. So I'm not sure about Venom 26.
Well, the 1 in 200 for Venom 25 was selling below ratio about a week ago. Then I went and saw that there were a bunch of store variants and decided not to buy one.
Certainly, there are a lot of store variants.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how that analysis went. I was like, oh. Pass.
There's a PX exclusive variant that's supposed to be at a con.
Which I think
I'm sure
that one might be okay.
Out. Yeah, because that's supposed to be, I guess, 1,500 or 3,000.
3,000 says right on the cover.
Okay.
So
Sorry,
I think
I'm
that
just
one
assuming.
might. No, I'm just saying I think that one might be okay. It's because it says on the cover 3,000.
Yeah, I mean,
Those
aside from
PX
that,
variants don't usually do that good. Those previews exclusive variants, they usually don't do well.
Nope.
but again, I don't think it's supposed to appear in Venom 25. But again, who knows? So
I think
Yeah.
it's just a because it was like a convention variant at the time, and they probably won't have that convention now. What was it? Maybe Texas, maybe Fan Expo.
okay.
I think it'll still be a good one to look for. It is pre-sailing online right now.
Well, when the Greg Horn one?
No, the PX exclusive.
Oh, the PX exclusive. Okay, I think it might be for San Diego Comic-Con.
You could be right. Usually they release a lot. Then usually you're right.
Yeah, I wonder if we're gonna start calling San Diego Comic-Con a different city Comic-Con because
Well,
that
it's not
shit's probably
happening.
gonna
I
get
mean,
canceled.
realistically,
Yeah.
they're probably going to just push it over for a year. But who
Man,
knows?
that's gonna be a lot of money. What do you got next there, Yimmy? Oh, Hellstrom.
Oh my! Oh wow! Oh my!
So the director put this on his Instagram, confirming all these characters and their roles,
Fancy.
which we pretty much knew them all before, but now they're actually confirmed. So
Dang.
just a real quick recap of the characters. Next slide, please, there, Yimmy. Ghost Rider 28, first caretaker, and Darkhold #1, first Louise Hastings. I don't remember the Louise Hastings. I do remember caretaker, but I think these are probably the ones that people did not have on their radar before this. And then the other characters we have already known about, which is like Satana and Hellstrom, and their mom appears in Marvel Spotlight 13. I can't remember even what her name is, but just some quick news. Just some quick news. Another and then another thing that was not covered last week in the podcast was, and thanks Keith for filling in.
Yeah, Keith was great. Hi, Keith.
Lockheed was confirmed for the new Mutants movie, which is now pushed back since the last podcast.
Christ.
But
what do we think about that? Is it coming to Disney? It's got to be coming to TV, right? At this stage. Dude,
the only reason I would
say Black Widow is on TV, I won't be shocked.
No, there's too much money tied up in Black Widow to put on TV. And remember, if you recall, when New Mutants and the last XMen movie were not released yet, but they were bought. They had the merger with Marvel. Fox did. Those movies were not released yet, and then they got put on the shelf because basically they said, oh, we're putting everything on hold. A lot of people were saying online, oh, they're just going to put on Hulu. They're just going to put these on Hulu where, Disney Plus wasn't around then. But that did not happen, even though most of the early reviews for both these movies were not good. They still release it in the theater because they'll make more money releasing it in the theater now since it's already done.
Well, but here's kind of the issue.
Josh Boone, the director of New Mutants, said no reshoots happened for the New Mutants, even though they were rumored for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, but here's kind of the issue, right? You have major chains of theaters shutting down.
They've had this thing shelved for 2 years, Nico. They're not just going to say like, well, we got to push it back a month. Screw it, put it on TV. Like, what the hell does it matter at this point?
Well, it's because of its content, and if they can't generate Loki and the Mandalorian,
there's no way they're going to release
all
it.
the other things on Disney.
Dude, you're talking about Disney. Are you forgetting it's Disney? We're talking about a company that literally would re-release their movies every 4 years, and then would release they'd say, "Oh, we're gonna release our VHSs or our new movies," and they'd only sell them for like 2 months. And they'd have commercials being like, "Oh, we're gonna close our vault soon." Like it's Disney. It's gonna come out in the theater.
Well,
I mean, will it eventually hit one of these streaming services? Probably. Will it have a more limited run at the theater now? Probably.
We'll see how this
goes. I think
goes.
it's gonna hit the theater at some point.
We'll see. I mean, in other words, if it wasn't a situation where they're launching a streaming service, there's a unique opportunity to capture a ton of new subscribers because people are socially isolating. or whatever the heck, sort of precautions you want to call it, or measures you want to, or how you want to label that. I think that it's a unprecedented time in human history. It really is. With
but you talked about this
digital TV, and that's
on your podcast on Saturday.
I mean,
Nico.
Disney and
Comic
Netflix
book
already
people-
have a schedule of releases, though. There's already content that's ready to come out. So maybe in a year.
What's
when
the
there's no
content that's ready to come out, Jimmy?
The stuff that's all scheduled to come out. Look at Netflix has releases set for the next 3 or 4 or 6 months, whatever. It's all ready to go.
Yeah, that's stuff's done.
Just look at latest. Look at what's coming.
What's coming out on Disney streaming?
I don't have Disney streaming. I don't know, but I'm sure it's the exact same thing. They
You're
have
just
the same
saying
Netflix
things,
thing. Why am I just saying things? The Netflix has new content coming all the time. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about fucking Disney. You're talking about Netflix. This is like
it's the
apples and
exact
oranges,
same
brah.
thing. If Netflix has a schedule of releases,
I'm
and
not
things
trying
that
to
are
argue
ready
with
to
you.
be
I think
Disney
you're-
has the exact same thing. As
Which
John
you
said,
don't know
there's
what
too
it
much
is.
money being, and either do you. There's too much money being
There is
put
none.
into this movie. There's too much money that's been put into this movie. If they were gonna drop it out, they would have done it already.
I mean, that's an astute observation and a hunch, but no more
That's
or less
exactly what
probable
everything you're saying is,
than
is
what
like
I'm
the
saying.
exact same thing.
Right.
You're acting like
No
you're coming
more or
out with
less
some kind of
probable.
evidence, or that you have some kind of great
your,
argument. You
It's your
don't.
knee-jerk reaction
Anyways, what's
and
this about?
discounting
All right.
of my opinion
All right.
that I find to be unpersuasive.
All right.
Oh my
so
goodness!
this was-
Because your opinion is actually nonsense at this point.
All right.
But
So moving on.
It's okay.
Moving on.
Huh.
Apparently, this was how somebody figured out that Lockheed was in the movie. And I don't even know what this is. This is something, but apparently that's Lockheed there. So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
That's what this character, X-Men 166.
Yes, X-Men 166. It came out. The news came out last weekend or something. I don't know. When I was out of town, I had them listed. Luckily, because Key Collector had noted that it was rumored, and I just put them up, whatever. And I completely forgot I had them listed, and then they sold, and I was like, "What? What happened there?" So yeah, so that's confirmed, obviously. Magic's gonna be riding a dragon around.
Is that what's the stuffed animal thing here? Was that always in the images and nobody really picked up on it?
Where? Oh, that she's holding?
Yeah.
No, they must have just put that in. I didn't even notice that. I think it's just overlaid on that picture.
Yeah, because that's something I think that we would have noticed by now, right?
Yeah.
And then was it Nico who was
Nico
on
gets
this?
a little love on this one. Fantastic Four 352. Nico mentioned this in his article February 8th, and we talked about it on the podcast. So over a month ago, Nico had mentioned this one. I'd never heard of it at the time, but
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Just ask everybody else, right?
Sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just let you go with it. And then, it's like that. Because I remember when we talked about it, I put the image in the slideshow and I said, Nico, what is this? I don't even know what this is about. And you said, oh, it has to do with TVA. It's TVA team. But I don't even know what you're talking about. All right. And so here we are a month later. And I haven't checked what these are selling for. Cover is not great, obviously, but lots of stuff coming out of the Loki series. One other thing that we had talked about previously on the podcast was Shang-Chi. Playing roulette was Fing Fang Foom. I went back and looked when we talked about this. How long ago do you think this was? If you hadn't have looked at it, that we talked about this rumor being
6 months ago.
pretty substantial. Yeah, it was in August. We talked about this.
Are you saying Fin Fang Foom is showing up? Is that what?
Yeah, it's been confirmed on the outer circles, I would say, or the inner circles. It's not
That would be
mainstream yet.
9 months ago.
I do believe we brought this up a few months ago. on
9.
the
Yeah.
website.
August
9.
episode number 15. 15.
Oh.
That was a long time ago. That was when we talked about a lot of characters that were
Subsequently
rumored for
confirmed.
Shang-Chi. Yeah, and pretty much all of them at this point, I think, have been. I don't know that there's any that we talked about back then.
Yeah, and just
No.
to bring it back, it's the same source that told us about Gravel.
Yeah,
So
granted,
even
I was just gonna say, like, we don't make these things up or figure them
even
out
though
on
it's
our own.
like it's questionable about the gravel thing and like with the Mike Wolfer thing, because I asked Mike Wolfer and he said he it was the first he had heard of it about gravel being optioned. But I mean, the guy who said it has a good track record, so I would assume that it's still happening. And again, the Fang Foom thing is just another example of how he's usually right. You're gonna say something, Nico?
Yep.
Nope.
Just about making stuff up, not based on.
Oh, like
stuff.
Yeah, dude. I mean, what the fuck? The shit that gets propagated on the internet, it's trash. I don't even understand it. Like
Stuff that we talk about usually has some basis.
Yeah.
We're not talking about stuff that just here's people who could appear in.
You mean
Phase
what I like
5.
what I like to refer to as conjecture, hunches, and fantasy.
Yeah. I mean, we could sit here and make a list of all the Marvel characters. Hey, these guys are going to be in a movie someday. And you just start a list of Marvel characters. I mean, that's
and then you pointed out, you're like, hey, I was right about this. I was right about this. Oh, hey, DC shutting down. Oh, just like Mikey Sutton. Yeah, I agree. My favorite is like
Ethan Van Cyber said DC was shutting down.
Because if you follow him on Facebook, like he posts like, oh, hey, I was right about this, and then he'll have like some obscure post that he made like 5 years ago that won't connect to anything. Oh,
sometimes they work out if you wait for a long time.
That is,
Gary is saying that Fing Fang Foom won't retain value, but try and find this book. Try and find this book for.
Good fucking luck, dude.
Yeah.
There was a copy that I talked on Nico time about a copy that sold that was like in shockingly sick looking copy for a halfway decent price. Hell, I almost bought one off Keith that looked like somebody crumpled it up in a ball and then he stuck it in a press for like $300 just because I'd never held one in my own hand.
I'm surprised you got one.
Right? Or that he let go of or was thinking about letting go of. He may not now, but the point is, super cool book, super hard to find.
The one thing I don't get, and I think we talked about this with some other people, Nico, was why did anybody ever care about Fing Fang Foom? It's not like a major character anywhere, but if you look at he has toys and stuff, and he's involved. He's in a lot of the games that Marvel puts out and stuff.
He has a toy that's real expensive. I don't know.
Isn't it the Marvel collective figure though, like the Build-A-Figure?
Yeah, there's definitely a Build-A-Figure.
No, but there's something before that that's like expensive.
Isn't it though? He's involved in like all these games and stuff because there aren't that many
monsters.
Well, there aren't that many large characters that they can use on a grand scale. I think that's why he's in the games, and I think that's why he's brought up in all these things. I think also if you look at the Build-A-Figure thing, it's usually obscure characters that you don't really care about.
No, those Build-A-Figures are such. Gosh, you ever go to a store and look at those things? In like January, Target had a big sale on all their toys that they had, and I was looking at them because they had some good prices on them. Man, half of the damn Marvel figures were missing the Build-A-Figures. People either go in, take them out, or they buy them and return them without the piece in it. Action figure people, man. Action figures and cards, man. They got some real shady people and doing stuff in there. And it has to do with returning stuff to the stores after they take out the good stuff.
Jesus,
that's a different story. I think we got one last thing to talk about. Really, was MODOK is rumored to be appearing in live action. Now we know that there's the MODOK show coming on Hulu by Patton Oswalt, but he's rumored to be appearing in live action as well. So I think his first appearance is still pretty affordable. It's just like if you look at the character,
high grade.
And if you look at the character, you're like, is this a book I really want to own? Like, right. I'd rather have the first Krang.
Dude, I think I sold the first MODOK for like a halfway decent copy for like $20, maybe a year and a half ago, just in like my box of $20 Silver Age books.
Yeah,
I knew it was like underpriced, or you know what I mean, that it should have sold for a lot more, but it's like, I'll just throw that in there too, and maybe people will buy a stack,
right?
Which they clearly didn't. No, absolutely not.
Oh, Sean must have bought it from you then. I'll just take this one book, please.
Just one.
Thank
That's funny.
Yeah.
you. So what else? Is that it, guys?
I like the fin.
Well,
It's real classy,
nice,
Jimmy.
Nice
He's a classy
placeholder.
guy.
I think that's all we had, though. We'll be here next week unless we all die, I guess. Unless, do we have anything else to go into?
No. Thanks
I mean,
for.
apparently it happens really fast. Like, so it's possible that if we get the coronavirus, it will happen like that. So,
Kevin Durant just got it.
why are you looking at me all surprised? Like, look at this guy. He's looking all like.
The same motherfucker who has an emotional breakdown because I suggested that maybe a movie might be released on TV in light
How
of
was
a
it an emotional
pandemic.
breakdown?
It was you can rewind the tape, as we say. Is now speculating that one of the three of us will no longer be here 7 days from today. We
Like
will
no
all
longer
be
on
back.
this earth.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, it happens quick. We'll all
I mean,
be
it's
here next
possible.
week.
You never know.
Thank you for watching.
Listen, it could be me.
No
be
one's
you.
dying.
Could
Not
be
Jimmy.
I don't know, man. Listen, I don't know. All I'm
I'm
saying
in
is
good
be
health.
safe, wear gloves,
Thanks.
wear masks. I was wearing masks all day today, and people
I
were
don't
just
think
looking
that
at me
that's
like I was a fool.
I don't
Somebody
think
said
always-
hello to me, and I did
always
finger
wear a love
guns, and they
glove.
cringed. So, I mean, just be careful. Be careful out there.
John, your observation was astute.
I tried to help a woman at the grocery store get a bag of chips off the shelf today. I think she was like gonna beat me up afterwards. I realized like I think she was just really mean because of, like she didn't want me touching her stuff.
Aw.
Yeah.
Did you cough
Oh,
on
man.
it?
No, I think she was just she kind of looked over her shoulder like I got it as she struggled to like reach and get something. Like okay, I guess if I was an older person, I guess I'd be more afraid of a younger person at this point too. But yeah, maybe you shouldn't go out in public if that's a problem.
Weird.
Wow. Dark
All right, well, we'll catch
times,
you guys
men and
next
women.
week.
All
Bye
right,
now.
see ya.